Lioness finally found its ground and started to gather speed as we gradually reached the anticipated ending of the series. On this channel, I've been a big critic of the show so far, and don't get me wrong, this video will be no different as I still have many issues with the series. However, I have to admit that as we moved towards the ending, things started to make more sense, characters started to feel more human, and yes, I started to relate more with everything that's been going on in their world. In fact, for the first time since the show started, I can't wait to see what will happen next in the show. So without further ado, let's see what happened in this episode that excited me so much. First of all, finally, Morgan Freeman is on the board. To be honest, at this point, I forgot that Freeman was supposed to be in this show since it's been so much since the series started. Therefore, seeing him on screen was a pleasant surprise for a second. And then it was a resentment towards the showrunners since having him was a major plus that I couldn't understand how they did not include him this far into the show. Freeman has a very unique charm and talent that elevates any production he takes part in. And Lioness was no different in that sense. I mean, the entire sequence where he questions Zoe Saldana and Nicole Kidman was clearly shot separately. And despite that, I felt like both Saldana's and Kidman's acting was improved compared to previous episodes. Or I saw them in a different light, I'm not sure. Either way, it was great to see Freeman in the role, and he made me believe in the fact that the Lioness team has put the CIA in danger through their actions. On that note, I have to mention Kidman and her on-screen husband's weird relationship. I mean, I know that we have been seeing them for just a second for the past few episodes, but each time, I felt like there is no way that this is supposed to be a real couple. And the last episode only proved my feelings on that. They are like two robots that talk only about work and nothing more. I tried to think about other on-screen couples who tend to talk about work whenever we see them together to have a comparison. I think one of the most similar couples was Francis and Claire Underwood on House of Cards. They were also constantly talking about business, but their dialogue was written so clearly that with each word they spoke, we would get a glimpse of their character and how this work would impact their personal relationship. However, with Kidman and her on-screen husband, you don't see even a friendship between them, let alone romance when they are talking about the work. I blame Taylor Sheridan for this, since his characters look so one-dimensional because of his not-so-great writing. Moving on to Cruz's entire saga with the terrorist's daughter Aaliyah. Okay, it was obvious that it was imminent the two's relationship would take a romantic turn. I mentioned the hints towards this direction in last week's video. If you haven't watched it yet, just pause this video, watch it, and come back to this one as that video is still relevant. Now, I have two major issues with this romance. But first, I have to acknowledge that I believe the two have great chemistry. I mean, I don't see how Sheridan can write such a robotic married couple and also such passionate, unlikely lovers at the same time. But as much as he botched Kidman's on-screen marriage, he nailed the chemistry when it comes to Cruz and Aaliyah. That being said, I can't help but point at the Orientalism in his writing. There is nothing wrong with Aaliyah not wanting to get married. There are a lot of things wrong when she says she is forced to do this as her culture pushes her to this lifestyle. I mean, she basically bashed her culture and life back in her home country for at least a couple of minutes with such Orientalist presumptions that I feel like Aaliyah is brainwashed by the Orientalist. Or simply, she is written by a white American man. Now, don't get me wrong, it's clear that there are a lot of problematic things taking place in the Middle East. However, when these problematic issues are undermined by women's problems only when it is reflected as if only the women in the Middle East are suffering in the world, when America is portrayed as the saviors of the women in the Middle East, and when all these are written by an American man, I believe we have a major problem. And yes, I can't believe it is 2023 and we are still seeing men talking on behalf of women with a major white savior complex. It's just ridiculous at this point. Another issue I have with the two's relationship is that I feel like any good friendship on screen these days is built up only to turn into something romantic. I mean, it is not news that platonic relationships are often undermined by the media, but it feels too much to see that whenever two women bond and share lots of things, they start to kiss in the next episode. The same thing is valid for male friendships on screen as well. What happened to platonic friendships? I truly miss them. Nevertheless, it is clear that Cruz has feelings towards Aaliyah, and I believe this will lead her to make some difficult moral decisions in the upcoming episodes. Knowing that she will be used as collateral damage in this operation by the CIA, I feel like there is a high chance for her to choose her life and her lover over the Lioness mission, which would be an interesting watch. What are your thoughts about Lioness so far? Do you agree with my criticism of Orientalism and the lack of platonic relationships? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Thank you for watching. See you soon.